Pacquiao vs Loma heating up. Plus, has Ryan Garcia lost his mind? We get to all that next. Please like and subscribe. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. And also leave a comment below. Welcome back to another episode of Tuesday Night Fights. Loma tells Pacquiao to fight at 135 and they can talk. We said on Sunday Morning Champion that if both fighters want this fight, we think it will happen. It's looking like both fighters may want this fight. We think Loma telling Pacquiao to get down to 135 is just a negotiation. Pacquiao says he could get down to 35. Don't know if he still could. He hasn't fought at that weight since 2007, 2008. David Diaz, who he destroyed. I think he only fought there once. Maybe he fought there twice. But if he could get there, he'd be big for the size. Fairly big for the size. A lot of power. But realistically, more than likely, that's a negotiating tactic. I think they would meet at some type of catch weight. Loma's not big for 135. He's really small for 135. He's not big for 130. Compared to the other guys at 130, like Pachelt and Tank, he's a lot smaller than those guys. Those guys are much bigger built than Loma is. Loma really looks like a featherweight who's had success moving up in weights because of his footwork and his hand speed. Anyway, we think this fight is realistic. We really do. I know a lot of people call it a fantasy fight or it's just a bunch of hype. No, we really think that if both parties want this, and we think that there's reason to suspect that they do, that this fight will happen at the end of the year. It's a big fight. There's a lot of money at stake. There's a lot of legacy at stake for both guys, especially Loma. We'll get into that. He'll have the chance to become the Pacquiao of his era. And whether it's at 35 or 47 or somewhere in between, it's a really interesting fight. We're going to say it's at a catch weight, probably 140, which would be the junior welterweight limit with the welterweight title on the line, or 142. Maybe they could do 138 or something like that. But somewhere, I'm guessing the catch weight would be between 138 and 142, which is probably what Loma walks around at. If you talk to Loma right now, he probably weighs about 142 pounds. Manny Pacquiao probably weighs about 150. So there's not that much of a size difference between the two. But Pacquiao's bigger. He's probably 8 to 10 pounds bigger than Loma is. He's also more powerful. But this is a good fight. What's interesting, though, to us is that Loma, who's currently fighting at 135, made Rigo jump up 2 full weight classes to fight him. And before you say, well, Loma was a small 130 at that time, and Rigo was at 122. Look, Rigo was a small 122. He was more like a 118 guy who fought at 122 because at that time, before they all jumped up to avoid him, 122 was loaded. It had Mares and Santa Cruz, a bunch of names there. And they all went to 126, it seemed like, to avoid having to fight Rigondeaux. Then he went straight to 130. And it was pretty clear, pretty early on, even at the weigh-in before the fight, that Rigo and Loma shouldn't have been in the ring together. There was too much of a size difference there. Now, I'm not saying that Rigo would have won if they were the same size, but on top of all that, Loma was much bigger. Then last fight against Linares. I mean, you saw how much bigger Linares is than Pacquiao. And Pacquiao is probably bigger than Linares, maybe. But if Loma thought that he was the A side and he made Rigo jump up 2 weight classes to fight him, why won't he at least fight Pacquiao at a catchweight? You know what I'm saying? But we think that eventually they will. That's just a tactic saying come down to 135, which, again, and we think Loma should be fighting at 130. He should be fighting the top guys at 130. There's plenty of guys that he could fight. Gary Russell Jr. is talking about coming up to 130. I'd love to see that rematch. Mares, don't know how much longer. He's a massive 126 pounder. Don't know how much longer he can make that weight. Let's see if he comes to 130. And then there's Pachelt and Tank at 132. So that 130 division, which is Loma's natural size. He should just stay there. Like that's where he belongs. But fighting Pacquiao is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, right? Because Pacquiao's probably only got maybe 1 or 2 fights left. His next loss, right, Pacquiao we assume Pacquiao is done. Loma could be that guy. Pacquiao's stock is pretty high now. I want to see Pacquiao fight again. I've never been a huge Pacquiao fan, but I want to see him fight again after that performance. Knocking out Matisse, dominating him like that. I want to see him fight again. So this is Loma's chance. This is Loma's chance to be the Manny Pacquiao of this era. And what we mean by that is a smaller fighter who jumps up through weight classes smooth and seamlessly because of his footwork and hand speed. Right? It was the footwork and hand speed that made Pacquiao unique, as well as the power. Loma doesn't have that power, but he's got the hand speed and the footwork. He's also much better defensively than is Pacquiao. And we saw that Linares at 135 is a good puncher. And he landed cleanly and dropped Loma. He got back up, was unaffected. Well, I don't want to say he was unaffected, but he cleared his head and went back to work. So Loma can take a punch. We know that he's got a chin. Now, can he take a Manny Pacquiao punch? That's a different story. But, he can take a punch from a big puncher at 35 like he did with Linares. The fight with Pacquiao, it makes a lot of sense for him. It's the one fight that can propel his legacy. There aren't too many guys at Loma's size that are pay-per-view attraction. Bob Arum has made that. He said he wants to try Loma out on pay-per-view, which I think pay-per-view is a dying form of watching boxing and all that. But that will only work if Loma fought any of the 135 pounds outside of Mikey Garcia, right? If he fought Louis Ritson, I'm just throwing out a name, or he fought even Miguel Berchelt, that would bomb on pay-per-view. I mean, maybe 100,000 people. There's just not that much appeal and attention at the smaller weight classes. So, Tank Davis would probably sell okay too. But we think he would lose that fight. So really the only pay-per-view fight out there for Loma is either Mikey Garcia, which isn't going to get made right now, let's be real, or Manny Pacquiao. That would do 500,000 pay-per-view sales, no problem. And it would get him to that, it would put him at that next level, that pound for pound. Like, look what this guy does. He jumps up through weight classes, beats guys bigger than him. If he could stop Pacquiao, that'd be, it would be his era. For me, at least, I have him number 2 pound for pound behind Bud. If he went out and knocked out Pacquiao, we may have to put him number 1. And I said, really, there's nothing that Bud can do to lose that spot besides lose, which he's not gonna, right? There's nobody in the foreseeable future that's gonna beat Bud. I know a lot of you think that's good, but that fight's not happening anytime soon. So Bud it has that spot locked up for the time being. However, if Loma stops Pacquiao, I'm not predicting that he will, I'm not saying that, but if he could, yeah, we may have to consider giving him the top spot. So, it's a legacy fight. It's a fight for greatness for Loma, and it's a chance to make him a pay-per-view star, which doesn't happen at the lower weight classes too often. Really, about 140, 147 is as low as people will spend to watch pay-per-view. And I know there's been a few other pay-per-view fights, right? I think, some of the Mexican featherweights fought each other on pay-per-view. Pacquiao fought Marquez, and I think Marquez may have fought Barrera on pay-per-view. But that's rare, right? Lomachenko, being a pay-per-view star, would have to beat Pacquiao to make him a real star at the pay-per-view level. For Pacquiao, the fight makes sense too. Because Loma is pound for pound, elite, right? Top 3 on every list. A win here combined with the win against Matisse, and his legacy is back. He'll be back on pound. If he beats Lomachenko, knocks him out, he's back on pound for pound list. That's 2 really impressive wins in a row. And before that, in 2016, he beat Vargas and Bradley. Those are 2 good wins. So over that 3-year span, 16, 17, 2018, that's 4 good wins he would have with the 1 controversial loss. So it was not unreasonable at that point to put him back on pound for pound list, considering what he's already accomplished in the sport. Look, Pac looked really, really good in his last outing. We think that he could beat Lomachenko, and it would be a career. I don't want to say defining fight because Pacquiao's legacy already is an all-time great, all-time great. Second best fighter of his era, maybe. He's a Hall of Famer for sure. One of the best, maybe the best Asian fighter of all time. One of the best left-handers of all time. So his legacy is what it is. But beating Lomachenko would put exclamation point at the end of that legacy. So the fight makes a lot of sense for him too. And it's the biggest fight that he can make right now. Maybe. I mean, they can make other big money fights. I don't know how many of them are realistic. Khan would make money, and he could win that fight. And then Thurman, who knows if he's coming back. And the winner of Garcia and Porter would make money too. But there's a thing of beauty with that Pacquiao-Lomachenko fight. And we really, really want to see that fight. I mean, let us know what you think. Are we jumping the gun here? Is the 135 just a negotiating tactic by Lomachenko's team? Do you think this fight will happen at a catchweight? Do you think it'll happen at all? Or do you want to see it? Or is there other fights you'd rather see? Let us know below. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Let us know if you think the fight's real, what weight you think it's going to happen at, or who you'd rather see Manny Pacquiao fight. And remember, he's a promotional free agent. He's his own promoter. Manny Pacquiao Promotion. So he can negotiate with whoever he wants. He's not restricted by Bob Arum anymore. Keep that in mind. Next, Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis. Boy, has Ryan Garcia lost his mind? Look, Ryan Garcia is a good little fighter. He's a 19-year-old prodigy. I'm sure he will be a world champion at some point in the not-so-distant future. He's Golden Boy's newest Golden Boy. He'll make a bunch of money in this sport and pick up some straps for sure. If he thinks he's anywhere near the level of Gervonta Tank Davis at the present time, at this current point in time, someone needs to examine his head. He needs Oscar. He needs a psychiatrist, like a team of mental health professionals getting into his ear and be like, look, you chill on Tank. You need to chill on Tank Davis. You ain't even close to his level yet. You struggled with a guy and took shots from a guy named Jason Velez. Nothing wrong with Jason Velez. A decent fighter, right? He ain't Tank Davis. Tank Davis, at this point, right now, if they were to fight, if they were to have a 10-week camp and go fight each other in a few months, go fight each other in October, Tank Davis would kill him in less than 4 rounds. That's not even a competitive fight at this point. So this trash talking, this banter that you're seeing going on between Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis better just be hyperbole by Ryan Garcia to get his name out there. And I know they're in the same weight class, but he better not be thinking about fighting Gervonta Tank Davis right now. That is something that is... I don't even know if the fight could happen with Oscar and Floyd at each other's throats, being the two promoters. But this is a terrible, terrible idea for Ryan Garcia. But I don't think he'll ever be able to beat Tank Davis, right? Because Tank Davis is only like 23, 24, and Garcia's 19. So, he'll be waiting around a long, long time for Tank Davis to get old. So, no, I don't think Ryan Garcia, who has a nice little skill set, let us know what you think. Do you think Garcia is a hype job, or do you think that he's actually the good? Do you think he's the future of the lightweight division? I know he's a junior lightweight now, but he's 19. Eventually he'd grow into a lightweight. Do you think he's the future of that division? Or do you think he's just, good-looking kid who makes these cool YouTube and Instagram videos who people like? Do you think he would have any chance at all with Tank Davis? Do you think that all this trash talking, all this Twitter back and forth nonsense is just hype to keep his name in the tabloids? Because the kid has like 500,000 or something ridiculous number of Instagram followers. Is this just something, a publicity stunt? Or do you think he's serious about fighting Tank Davis? And if he is, do you think that Oscar needs to get in his ear and tell him that he needs to cut that out? Right? There's no way that Oscar thinks that this kid, who's eating shots, who Jason Velez was putting hands on, is ready for Tank Davis. You see what Tank does to people? Like Tank's on the verge, right? Like, we were saying Tank could be the next American superstar. Tank is really unique and really talented. You don't want to. Ryan Garcia doesn't want no smoke. I don't think. Let us know what you think. Do you think Ryan Garcia really wants this fight? Do you think Oscar should let the fight go on, or is it just for a little pub? Let us know below. Leave your thoughts, comments about that. And last topic of today on Tuesday Night Fights: Wilder vs. Ortiz 2, the rematch. The rumors are heating up for this one as well. With AJ off the table with Povetkin for September, this fight, the rematch with Ortiz, Wilder Ortiz 2, this looks like a real possibility. This is perfectly played by Eddie Hearn. That's right, Eddie Hearn, a.k.a. Fast Car Eddie, a.k.a. Eddie the Scumbag, is playing his hand perfectly here. Look, this will be forced onto pay-per-view, right? No, and I'm being serious, we'll get into that. But this Wilder-Ortiz fight will be forced onto pay-per-view. It will bomb on pay-per-view, right? And it's not that I think the fight's bad or anything like that. Look, it's a respectable fight. The first fight was competitive enough. It was a really good fight, the first fight. So I don't have a problem with running it back. The only thing is, look, Ortiz can't do anything differently. He showed that he can't get on the inside. If he can't get on the inside, he's going to get knocked out by Wilder. And he can't get on the inside. So as soon as he slows down, he can have success boxing him early. But as soon as he slows down, he's going to eat a right hand or two, and that's going to be the end of the fight, which we saw in the first fight. He can't do anything. Ortiz, that is, executed his game plan. It wasn't good enough. It is what it is. And I think King Kong's a decent fighter. I think he's a good fighter. I think he can beat most heavyweights. I think he could beat Joseph Parker. I think he could beat a lot of guys. I think he could beat Dillian White. I think he's pretty good. But he can't beat Deontay Wilder. So, Wilder knocks Ortiz out. Probably shorter, less time than the first fight, right? I would say 7 rounds, 6 rounds, he knocks him out. He almost knocked him out in the 5th round. If that 5th round had a few more seconds on it, he knocks him out in the 5th round. And sure, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, if the 7th round went a little longer, Wilder could have got knocked out in the 7th. True. That's true. But the thing is, Ortiz fought his fight. Like, if I told Ortiz, what's your game plan, he would have said, well, I executed it in the first fight. So how's he going to win the second fight? Just being older? You know, he got older. Wilder got that experience. Wilder had never been tested like that before. So, as scary as it was if you're a Wilder fan that he almost got knocked out there in the 7th, that was a good experience for Wilder. He grew in that. So, again, I'm fine with the fight happening. I'm fine with the rematch. I'm not really overly excited about it, though. I can't. You know, like I said, it's good enough to run back. But there's no way Ortiz can win. It's not like Ortiz can change something. Like Jacobs. Danny Jacobs can outbox Triple G. He lost too many rounds and got knocked down because he got too brave. If they ran it again, and I'm Andre Rozier, do not entice him. Stay on the outside. Use the ring. Use the ring. Use every square inch of that ring, and you will outbox him all day. He'll win 9 rounds, 10 rounds, and you'll stand on your feet if you stick to the game plan. Ortiz stuck to his game plan and got knocked out. So what's he going to change? Nothing. So this fight goes on pay-per-view. What are we looking at realistically? Well, Andre Ward versus Kovalev did 160,000 pay-per-view sales. So did Triple G versus David Lemieux. That's kind of what we're looking at. Now, Triple G was a star. He did 160 with David Lemieux, right? When there's nothing about the opponent that sells any pay-per-views. David Lemieux sells 0 pay-per-views in the United States. King Kong Ortiz sells 0 pay-per-views. Is Triple G a bigger star than Wilder? I mean, yeah, probably. It's probably close, right? But so when one guy sells all the pay-per-views, you're going to get 150, 160. Unless that guy's Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao or Oscar De La Hoya or Mike Tyson, right? Deontay Wilder isn't selling 500,000 pay-per-views. He's not. So we're probably looking at that number that we got with Ward and Kovalev and that we got with Canelo, with Triple G and David Lemieux. We're probably looking at 150 to 175,000 pay-per-view sales. That's not great, right? Especially when you consider that Eddie Hearn's going to say, aha, I showed you. Look, my guy AJ for Povetkin, he sold 70,000 tickets, and he did 1 million pay-per-view sales in the UK. Look what my guy does compared to his. I'm giving him 15 million because I'm being nice. And he's going to walk away. The guy that just did 150,000 pay-per-view sales and sold 10,000 tickets in the Barclays is going to walk away for $15 million. That's ridiculous. And you know what? He's going to have a case. So this Wilder fight against Ortiz, which is going to bomb at the pay-per-view office, let's be serious, plays perfectly into Eddie Hearn's hand. And I dislike Eddie Hearn as much as anyone listening. But this is well played. I mean, this is going to help him at the negotiation table because this fight's not going to do well. And AJ versus Povetkin is. It allows Eddie to go back and it gives him another bargaining chip. And, you know, look, Eddie is what he is, but he's a heck of a promoter. But let us know what you think. Leave your thoughts, comments below. Leave it on this fight. If you think Wilder versus Ortiz is a pay-per-view fight and how many pay-per-view sales you think it's going to do. Let us know about the Loma and Pacquiao situation. And let us know if you think Ryan Garcia is out of his mind. Leave all your thoughts, comments below. Please remember to like and subscribe. Help us get to that 1,000 number. For Tuesday Night Fights, we are 3D Boxing signing off. Thank you, and God bless.
Enjoy 3D Boxing vlog videos? Show us some love by clicking the like button. Don't miss a tweet, post, story, or video. 3dboxingvlog.com is also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit the subscribe button now to stay inside the ring.